Hey there guys, Pinobi here bringing a Yu-Gi-Oh! Decklist video. The main reason I'm bringing this Yu-Gi-Oh! Decklist video to you today is because I recently played in a tournament at my locals, and I haven't played in a tournament for Yu-Gi-Oh! In a very long time, mostly because I've been so into Pokemon, and there's been a lot of new stuff going on with that, with the new tiers and everything. If you're a fan of Pokemon, you know, check out my channel if you don't already know. Regardless, I also play Yu-Gi-Oh! At a competitive level, although this format, I haven't really done any tournaments and stuff like I said. The main reason for that is because I haven't really wanted to spend any money on the cards. I know that a lot of things are going to drop in price. I know that a lot of things that dominate the format will change, as they always do. I haven't really felt like spending money on warnings because I've wanted to see what's going to happen to it. It already got semi-limited. I'm sure the price, you know, it fluctuated up to almost 100, and now it's going to go way back down to 40, which it already was. Regardless, let's go ahead and get into this. This is the Gladiator Beast deck list that I brought to my locals, and I top 8'd. I was X-1, which means I only lost one game in Swiss, which was pretty impressive. I was one of 3 people to go X-1, and the only person, there was nobody that went undefeated, and the only person I lost to was undefeated until the final round. So I was ranked really high in top 4, but there was enough people at my locals that day for them to do top 8 instead of top 4. And sadly, I lost in my first top 8 match against somebody that I had already previously beaten in Swiss. But we'll go over that later anyway. Let's go ahead and get into the deck list. Like I said, it's Gladiator Beasts. It's going to be a little bit different than previous deck lists of GBs that I've uploaded, and I'll explain any changes I would make if I had, you know, more monetary opportunities for this deck. You know, if I had some more cash to throw into it, and if I felt like it and I wanted to get really into it, I'll show you what you could do to make this a little bit better. So let's go ahead and get into it. Started off 2 Thunder King Ryo. This card is just really, really good this format. It stops Samurais from searching with Smoke Signal. It stops X-Sabers. You know, you can hit their Dark Souls. It stops pretty much everything. No searching. Really awesome. Stop Synchros with its Tribute effect, which I actually used quite a few times. You'd be surprised how many people forget about that. So yeah, 2 Thunder King Ryo, very, very solid card. Next, 2 Gladiator Beast Laquari. I see some people playing 3 this format, not really a fan of it. I like 2. 2's a good number, especially when you see my spell lineup. 2 Darius. The reason I like 2 Darius as opposed to 1 is because I really like Bestie plays. It's also the second highest attacking GB, and yeah, 2 Darius, pretty staple, I guess. 2 Equests. Again, I play 2 because I play really my playstyle is very card economics. I like to maintain advantage. I realize that Glad's a deck that does revolve around field control, but when you have a Chariot and a Deep Prison, it's not going to matter if you have this 16 or if you have a 21 attack Laquari, so might as well get a +1. 1 Bestiari, because yeah, he's Bestiari, obvious. 1 Retiari, which is obvious. Retiari was MVP against some decks, just doing straight work. A lot of people playing Tengu plants, removing their glow-up bulbs, removing their plague spreaders if they play a plague in their deck, which a lot of the, you know, Tengu variants of course do. Really good. Murmelo, it really is a great card against Gores if you don't have a Gazaris play to go into. Yeah, just shutting down Gores is really nice. Hop, just because it's a good set. If you don't have an extra Laquari in your deck because it got bottomless or deprisoned, it makes a nice tag. It's a good card to sit there for a turn, so you have a little bit more control and defense, so that next turn you can set a Bestie in contact to Gazaris. Pretty obvious. Tech choices, 1 Spirit Reaper. Reason I'm playing 1 Spirit Reaper is that a lot of times I have a Glad on the field and I'm maintaining control of the Chariot, and then I can run over a monster and swing directly for more card advantage. And also, Reaper is a great card against 6 Sams. It lets you stop their, you know, offensive plays and gives you time to build up your momentum again. It gives you time to draw into what you need to stop their Shien plays, especially if they can't get their hand on the field, if they run a hand, and all that stuff. And last monster is 1 Veiler. Valor is just a good card this format. It stops Kageki, so first turn samurais, don't always get to go off if they win the die roll. Good against X-Sabers to stop Bogart Knight swarms, etc., etc. You guys all know it's a good card. I like to main deck one copy. You can only side it out against unfavorable matchups, but that's just me. Going into the spells, 3 Proving Ground. It doesn't really conflict with Thunder King, because usually Thunder King is your opponent's top priority to get rid of. So they're either going to get rid of it and you can play this, or you'll draw it in your opening hand and you can just play it before you Thunder King. Or if you have Thunder King and you have a good trap lineup, you're not even going to need this until Thunder King's gone, if it ever gets taken away, or you might just win the match just by making your opponent unable to search. But yeah, it makes Bestiari way more consistent, and it makes it so you don't need 3 Laquari. Dark Hole, obvious staple, monster destruction. Smashing, I like to play Smashing Glads. It's just a good card to get rid of big monsters that are impeding you from tagging out. Book of Moon stops combos, stops synchro plays, stops a lot of stuff. It also lets you tag out easily, so yeah, everyone knows that. 1 enemy controller, just because Book of Moon is limited and the ability to change positions is really useful. I've actually used it for its tributing effect quite a few times, and it's definitely come in handy. Although if I had any, I would probably play Forbidden Lance over enemy controller. I'd play 1 Lance over this. Magic and Trap hate 2 MSTs. Glads like their free tags. They hate Oppression. They hate Decree. So 1-for-1 MST. Magic Trap Destruction is good stuff. It's chainable. Always useful. Trunade, same sort of business. You want to make sure your plays go off, especially Gazaris plays that are getting rid of their offensive monster lineups, like Shien. It's a good bait card for Shien, and then you can activate Chariot when they try to negate it. Stuff like that. Reborn, obvious. Now for the trap lineup. Trap lineup's pretty extensive, and you'll see it's a little interesting since I don't have warnings, so I play it a little differently. 1 Mirror Force right off the bat. Mirror Force is kind of controversial this format, and it has been for a few formats, to be honest with you. A lot of good players play around Mirror Force, but the fact of the matter is that you really want to protect your Gladiator Beast and War Chariot setup, so Mirror Force allows you to do that. And for that same reason, I'm playing 3D Prison. I definitely did not regret playing any of these deep prisons. I never thought that I drew deep prison too much or anything like that. It definitely didn't clog. It didn't get played around very well, especially since I run triple chariot, which you'll see. And yeah, triple deep prison helped a lot. Triple chariot, some people think it's better at 2. I was definitely one of those people. If you see some of my earlier decklist videos, I say I would have rather ran 2 chariot. But in this format especially, you really need 3. In the previous ones you kind of did as well, especially back in the triple solemn formats and stuff like that. But now, especially since I'm running a more anti-meta build with Thunder Kings and Valor and everything, triple chariot's a must. You just need to stop them from... You need to keep your field control, basically. Double bottomless, I would play Wardings instead of bottomless if I had them, and I would probably still play 1 bottomless actually, but bottomless is a good card, especially with priority getting nerfed, but you just really need to stop those trigger effects from ever happening. You need to stop black. If I had a warning instead of bottomless, I could have stopped a Black Rose play, which would have let me go undefeated, because I lost in game 3 of my Swiss in the last game of my Swiss at table 1. Both me and my opponent were X&0, and I lost in game 3 because he pulled off a good Black Rose play. We both were top decking. He top decked into Avarice and got too much advantage. So yeah. Next, 1 Trap Stun. Trap Stun's just a really good card. It's kind of like your Trunade. Helps you get things going. It also helps out with other situations that Trunade wouldn't really do in the same situations, and it's just a good card. More magic and trap hate, or more protection, or whatever you want to call it. 7 Tools. 7 Tools is just a really good card this format. especially since I'm not playing Warning. I can definitely afford the life points. That's not a problem. And yeah, 7 tool's just really good. It stops Warning, it stops Judgment, and that says a lot. Speaking of which, Judgment's too good. Staple, we all know it. Call is a controversial card, I guess, in some decks, perhaps in this one, but I really like Call in this deck, especially because you really want to be able to get 2 GBs onto the field so you can make a Gazar's play happen. It's also a good card to just sit there, because when a Glad tags back into the deck, this card will just sit on your side of the field, which means that any time for the rest of the game, as long as it's still there, you can tag into Bestiari, even if your opponent has no back row, and just target this, since Bestiari's effect is mandatory. So I really like it. And lastly, Royal Oppression. I had really mixed feelings about this going into it, and I have mixed feelings coming out. Honestly, I think this is a better side deck card. I had heard some other people's opinions and seen some other lists, and some people said that they really recommended maining it instead of siding Royal Oppression. It is a good card, especially with Thunder King. It really shuts down plant decks. It shuts down, Tengu plants and everything. But honestly, it just really, this pretty much is the reason I lost in my top 8 match. Is I played a Royal Oppression and I couldn't support it. I got blood dry. I was playing against Froggy Monarch, and he just kept, synchroing into formula, and I tried to stop all the formula synchron plays, but he eventually worked his way around it to the point where I only had, like 1600 left, or etc., and I really had to choose carefully what I wanted to stop, and he kind of managed to bleed me through it. It's really more of a side deck card from my experience, but that's just me. So that's the deck list. It is 40 cards. It's pretty good. The only real changes I would make is switching an Econ out for a Lance, and switching 2 Bottomless out for switching the Bottomless out for Warnings, and then I would switch the Oppression out for a Bottomless probably. So unless I wanted to play 2 Lance, but that's just my opinion. You guys can tell me what you think in the comments. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. I know that I haven't done much Yu-Gi-Oh stuff lately. That's kind of why I wanted to make this. Also, I have a little bit better webcam quality, hopefully. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. The extra deck and the side deck are pretty standard. Some of the main signed cards, I would have used a lot of Chain Disappearance, but I don't have any, so I didn't get to use that. But against Sam's, I used Kinetic Soldier, which helped a lot. Really great card. I would probably play Fossil Dyna Pachirisu, or whatever it's called, Fossil Dyna, over this, but hey, whatever. Nobleman for Gravekeepers. I didn't even end up playing Gravekeepers. I mostly played Tengu Plant, Froggy Monarch, and stuff like that. 1 Crow, just against Tengu Plant. It helped a lot, actually. I kind of wish I had side decked 1 Icarus attack with this, actually, but that's a side deck tech I used to do a lot, and I think I should go back to that. 1 Grand Mole has actually helped me a lot in, well, it didn't help me a lot per se, but it would have if I needed it, but I ended up not even needing it, but it would have been a good out against Samurai matchups against Shien, because Magatama can't stop it and everything. 1 Dust Tornado just for decks that like Dragoonides, but I didn't end up playing Dragoonides, so whatever. And Mind Crush for Gravekeepers and a lot of decks. It's really just a good card to side in if you lose game 1, but hey, whatever. So those are pretty much the main side deck cards. I would also use Chain Disappearance, and I should throw an Icarus attack in here, and I should definitely put in Massacre Restrict, because Froggy Monarchs were really, really popular at my locals and did really, really well, surprisingly. Well, not surprisingly, but whatever. So, there's the deck. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Like this video if you did, and I'll catch you guys later.